Okay, ready to dive into another medieval mystery.
Always.
I bet you didn't know that something you see on like restaurant menus today was actually a religious staple way back in the day, like centuries ago.
You got me intrigued. Lay it on me.
We're going to be talking about the history of carp.
Carp. Okay.
Yeah, carp,
All right.
and how it like spread all across Europe,
Yeah.
became like a huge thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to be looking at some excerpts from this academic article I found all about archaeological findings, which is pretty cool.
Sounds interesting, but hold on a sec, carp. I mean, it's not exactly, the most glamorous fish.
I know, right?
No.
But that's what makes it so interesting.
Okay, you got me.
It's like, you know how we were talking about the importance of fish in medieval times?
Huh.
Especially during all those religious fasts?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Fish was a big deal back then.
Right. But here's the thing. It's actually like really hard to find proof of that in the archaeological record.
Huh. That's weird.
Like this whole case of the missing fish bones kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So, like, why is it so hard to find those fish bones?
Well, smaller fish bones are super delicate.
Right.
They don't always like survive that well over time,
Makes sense.
especially in certain soil conditions.
Yeah, I guess the soil could be a factor.
Plus, you've got to think about like scavengers.
Yeah, right. Animals
Like,
get into them.
yeah, animals that would have like gotten to those leftovers before they could, be buried and preserved for archaeologists to find them.
Sneaky little scavengers messing up our history.
And even if, by some miracle, those tiny bones do survive, they could be so small that they're easily missed in an excavation.
I see, like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but with fish bones.
Exactly.
But hold on, you said we're focusing on carp, right?
Yeah.
We have more to go on than just bones, don't we?
Yeah.
We've got written records, pictures, stuff like that.
You're absolutely right. We know from all sorts of sources that carp was like a big deal in medieval times.
So how do we, like, connect the dots?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. That's where the monks come in.
The monks!
Yeah, the monks. The spread of carp is actually super closely tied to the rise of Christianity in monasteries.
Interesting.
Like, get this, Charlemagne.
Charlemagne, as in, like, the Charlemagne.
Yeah, that's Charlemagne.
Wow.
He actually made carp ponds mandatory on his estates.
He did?
Yeah, in the 8th century. Can you believe that?
That's kind of surprising, isn't it? I mean, you think of Charlemagne, you think of, like, conquering in battles, not fish ponds.
Right.
So why carp? What was so special about carp?
Well, he was a pretty smart guy, and he totally recognized how important a reliable food source was. And carp, they just fit the bill perfectly.
Ah, that makes sense.
They were like easy to raise, they reproduce quickly,
Pragmatic.
plus they could survive in like all sorts of different environments.
So they were like the perfect medieval food.
Yeah, pretty much.
So do we have any actual proof of this? Like archaeological evidence of these carp ponds?
We do. There's this place called the Lorsch Monastery in Germany,
Okay.
and archaeologists found carp bones there dating all the way back to the 7th to 9th centuries.
Wow, that's pretty early.
I know, right? But here's the thing, and this is where it gets really interesting. Carp weren't native to that region.
They weren't.
Nope. Their original home was mostly around the Danube River, which is like hundreds of miles away.
So how did they get all the way to Germany?
That's the million-dollar question, and the answer, my friend, is the monks.
So like the monks were transporting these fish all over the place.
They were. They were basically the like original carp distribution centers.
I never would have guessed that monasteries were so into fish farming.
It's kind of cool, right? I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
For centuries, eating fish, especially carp, was like the thing to do during religious fasts.
Right.
And monasteries, with their resources and organization, were in the perfect position to farm and distribute them.
Makes you wonder if they were like the OG pioneers of sustainable aquaculture.
Oh, that's a great point.
It wasn't until much later, like the High Middle Ages, that cities and rulers really started getting into fish farming on a large scale.
Yeah, but they were basically just building on what the monks had already started.
So we're talking about the same carp we see in like supermarkets today, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's amazing how this fish, that's so common today, has this whole like long and complicated history.
Yeah, totally.
And it's all tied up with religion and economics and even powerful rulers like Charlemagne.
And it's still a major player in freshwater fish farming, both in Europe and Asia.
It really makes you think,
Yeah.
about how everything is so interconnected, like
Yeah.
history and culture, even our like modern dinner plates.
It's true. I mean, if something as simple as carp can have such a crazy, complicated history,
Yeah.
what other hidden stories are out there just waiting to be uncovered?
Ooh, that's a good question. I know I'll be looking at my grocery list a little differently from now on.
You and me both. Thanks
Right.
for taking us on this deep dive. It's been fascinating.
My pleasure. Always
Yeah.
fun to uncover these hidden stories.
Absolutely.
All right. Until next time, happy fishing, everyone.
Happy fishing.